Alright. As you can see, this video is definitely not a thrift related video. I feel like I need to let loose a little bit. I feel like a lot of you don't really know me besides just me shopping and putting fashion together and the girl who doesn't like to wear a bra. Apparently that's a big issue on my channel. Did ask for a couple questions on Instagram and I kind of wanted to just talk about it. Thought we would have a chit chat video. It's Saturday night. I thought I'd get a little spicy and drink some wine. So I'm just gonna read off some of the questions y'all sent me through Instagram and just talk about it. Where do you get your style inspo from? Looking at other people who express themselves like fashionably, and I'm just like, wow, I want to do that. I want to try that for myself. So it's just seeing other people kind of being out there and showing their style and being confident and comfortable. And I'm definitely an observer. I feel like your style sometimes stems from your personality, and I love that. I think it obviously varies on how you're feeling, what you watch, what you like, and just all these things you perceive in a way. What are your thoughts about college? I feel lost. I feel like I need to go get my master's. That was me after I graduated. I'm like, what am I doing with myself? I just graduated and I'm still thinking, what am I doing with myself? I think after college and after kind of getting used to going to school all the time and not having that established routine, it becomes very difficult. And I mean, if pursuing your master's is something you really want to do, and if you definitely know what you want to specialize, I say go for it. I don't want you to feel like pressure to go do your master's because you don't know what's next and you don't know what you want to do in your life. And that's totally normal. A lot of us don't know what we want to do in our life. Me, you should just take this time and this opportunity to kind of focus on yourself. There's no time limit to education, so I think there shouldn't be a rush into doing so. How to get comfortable with your body if you just started dating someone and you're insecure. Whew, so many layers to this question. I'm not the best to give advice, but I understand that maybe even just starting a new relationship is definitely scary. When you're dating someone, it's definitely layers of kind of getting comfortable even with who you are, and especially dealing with your insecurities, whatever they are. I think a lot of it lies with you speaking to this person and telling them the certain things that make you uncomfortable. In a way, there has to be this trust because you're basically both are becoming very vulnerable with each other. It seems like this issue stems far more. It seems like you're just insecure about your body in general, and it makes you self-conscious because you're dating someone new. And I think that in itself is a whole different thing. And let's just talk about it real quick. Insecurities can stem from anything, and it's just a kind of like the self-reminder that maybe we're not like the most perfect person and that we shouldn't achieve to be this. My biggest insecurity was my body growing up. I was fat shamed and bullied since a child. I remember clearly as a child being the most carefree and just not giving a fuck. Other people started saying things about my body that I realized those are where the insecurities stem from. Saying comments like, you'd be prettier if you were skinnier, you don't look healthy, you know, shamu, whale, all those kind of names. I started to become more conscious about my body because as a child, you don't believe you're different. I don't think you're raised to think that you're different. It's when people start calling you out that you're different, you know, that you realize that maybe I am this thing that people say. A lot of my insecurities, I realized, stem from other people shaming on me. As I grew older, I came to realize that my insecurities were never my own. And this could be people, this can be environments, this could be media telling you that you're supposed to look a certain way. And I think the thing that affects us the most when it comes to insecurities, it's when it's coming from someone that really means a lot to us. For instance, for me, it was my mom her pushing this ideal of being thin and realizing that that was something she was insecure because of her grandparents telling her names and calling her out. A lot of these insecurities definitely stem from people's perceptions put onto you. I know nowadays it's all about subjectivity. I feel like especially on the internet, a lot of people want to just push their perceptions and their perspectives onto others. I feel like a lot of the times people are just being passive aggressive. Sometimes you just have to be aware about really expressing your thoughts on the internet to somebody you don't completely know, and they have a freedom of choice as well as you do. You know, I don't think a lot of us sometimes would go up to a random person and be like, hey, wear a bra. In itself, you would think that's rude, right? To just kind of have that freedom to do it on the internet and be very passive about it is just kind of interesting to me. It's just the way others perceive us, and as long as you learn not to perceive yourself that way, I think you'll become a more comfortable and confident person. Yeah, and I also just wanted to touch up this whole bra thing. How did you get to be in a very confident position with yourself? And how do you practice self-care? So I have 2 questions about self-care, so I'm going to just answer it in this one. Let's talk about confidence first. I think confidence is definitely varies on certain things. To be honest, I'm not the very confident person when it comes to communicating or writing essays, but it's something I'm working on, and I think as long as you keep working on those things and tackling it head on, you will become more confident. Being confident in your self-image is kind of like accepting that you are beautiful and you're given this, you know, once. Luckily, I haven't had to deal with any health issues. Realizing not to take myself for granted, talking with yourself and knowing that you love who you are inside, even though you don't know who that is yet, because obviously I don't even know who I am yet, but I love the little pieces that I'm learning to be, and not to be so judgmental on myself because the world already does that for you. So self-care practices. I think self-care is so fucking important because there's so many days where you just feel the worst. Like, to me right now, this is self-care. I'm talking to y'all, I'm having a glass of wine, no one's here. As an introvert, don't get me wrong, I like socializing, like with my friends and stuff. At the end of the day, I need to just be by myself, and I feel like I get more inspiration and I recharge when I'm by myself. What I like to do that kind of help elevate those things are playing the piano, expressing myself with my makeup and what I'm wearing. I've been into painting recently. Same with dancing. I enjoy dancing so much. I always need a dancing night out. Just yesterday we went dancing. Also just walking my dog, spending time to play with him. My last self-care is movies. It's another thing that kind of helped me cope with the situations I was in when I was younger, and you know, this kind of like reality dystopia for me. I love film in general, so that's another thing I like to do, is just take myself to the movies. What is your favorite movie of all time? The one that first popped in my mind when you asked me that was this movie called The Man with the Movie Camera, and it is by Vertov. He is a documentarian. It's technically called the City Symphony documentary, and so you have this crazy music playing, and it's literally just him with the movie camera all over the city. And this was filmed, I believe, in the 40s. It has a lot of this reflexivity aspect that I like so much. How did you afford traveling? I need tips. Okay, so for me, I was lucky that I got financial aid that paid for my school. Because I got financial aid, I was able to save all that money because I didn't live on campus, I was commuting. And with that money that I saved, planned this trip abroad for a month, and I traveled off season, so a lot of the time it's way more affordable. Google Flights is the place to go when planning flights. I think a lot of people think that a round trip flight would cost you like $1,000, but no. From LA to Paris is 200 bucks. Really have to check the calendar. What I do, I always fly one way, and I fly to popular international airports. So definitely always plan one-way trips, learn where you want to go, and it's definitely doable, and you could definitely make it very affordable. If you really want like a very specific video on this, let me know. Like I said, a lot of it was my financial aid, and then I was working full-time, so I would always save money on the side because I made traveling a priority for me. To travel to Italy again, Positano, and then I did another trip recently where I went to France, and with my taxes that I got back, I was able to do so. So just kind of like prioritizing traveling and just making the money for it and learning how to find things very affordable. And trust me, there's a lot of ways you could. What was a very difficult time in your life, and how did you make things better? So I recently expressed on my Instagram about losing my father. It's gonna be 10 years, and it's still very difficult for me to deal with that because I had this really close relationship with my father. He was the parent that I felt really close to. So to me, when I lost him, it was just so hard. Like, he was my best friend, you know? It's death and grieving, it's another level. Like, it's a lifetime thing. I'm still trying to cope with it, but I lost him when I was 18 and I just got to community college, and during that time I wanted to quit school and not just be at home and just grieve. But I realized that that wasn't gonna better myself at all. I was just gonna be at home, and all this effort that I put in to go to school, and he was helping me continue my education, just get my education. It became more important to me. So that's how I started to make things better. I just kind of turned it around, and I knew no one else was going to take care of me, so that is what happened. So I just had to take care of myself. I went through school, I got a job, and I was supporting myself at 18, which I know a lot of people do, but and I wasn't at the time. So I just try to be better for myself. What did you study in the university? So I studied sociology, that was my major, and I minored in film, and what I wanted to be with using those is a documentarian. Where were you born? Well, I don't want to be as specific, but I'm from LA County, and that's where I was born. I was born in LA County, and I've been raised in LA County, so yeah, Los Angeles, baby. And the last question is, how do you afford such a nice flat? Isn't LA crazy expensive about living expenses? One, I've lived in LA, so I understand the living expenses are ridiculous. My financial stability isn't great right now. I know it might seem like it, but luckily my parents, since my dad passed, and my mom, she didn't really need our parents' house that much. I decided to move back to my parents' house, so this is actually my parents' home. I'm still paying a rent, but it's not crazy expensive as it would be in like LA. But like I said, both of my parents don't live here. I live here. It's this whole house for myself and my boyfriend and my dog. That's how I'm able to afford living in LA, or else there's no fucking way. But I did live in the apartment last year in Orange County, and that was ridiculous. The only way I was able to afford that was also having a roommate, so there was 3 of us living there. Yeah, that's how I'm able to afford this. I'm sorry this video was so off tangent, so random, but I just wanted to do another video because I feel like I've been doing a lot of thrift videos and styling videos, and I just don't think my personality really shows in those videos. I just want to get real with y'all too, because like I said, I think there's this like self-image that sometimes I create by putting myself online, and I don't think y'all get to get like the full of me, which, you know, you get a certain aspect. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's definitely off tangent and maybe not the most interesting, and maybe won't even get a lot of views, Karina. Maybe no one would watch, but if you did, I really appreciate it. Yeah, that is all for today's video, and if you did like it, let me know and give this video a like, and maybe we'll discuss more topics. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow my socials. I'll link them down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.